Hey guys, this is the help video for the World Cup Histograms assignment that is in week 1. Reminder that the good thing about videos is you can pause it, you can check your work with my work, you can do the work with me, and that is the best way to use one of these videos. Or you can pause, you can stop it and rewind it. You can go back and hear what I said before. How not to use a video is just to get the answers from it. Okay, you actually want to complete the assignment on your own because at the end of the day, for example, for this assignment, you want to be able to make frequency tables and histograms on your own accurately. So use this to practice. Okay, all right, so this is actually a cool video. This is linked here if you're a soccer fan. This is the 2023 Women's World Cup highlights, and something I learned from this assignment actually is that the United States women's team have won 4 World Cups, which is the most out of any country. I had no idea. I'm not a soccer person, so I just had no idea, but that's awesome. Use the following information about the 2023 U.S. women's team and their ages to create a frequency table and histogram. So this right here is our frequency table. Remember, that's the thing where we have we put little tally marks, okay? And we're organizing our data. We talked about all these different types of graphs in class. Why do we have so many different types of graphs? Because some are easier to look at. Because if I asked you how many players are in their 20s, just looking at this big list over here, it's hard to see. You have to sit there and you have to count them. If I ask you how many players are exactly 27, you got to look in this big pile of ages and try to find all the 27s. But if we organize it in a table like a frequency chart, or if we put it on a histogram, which we're about to make, we can quickly see that most of the players are this age or within this age range. Okay, so what we're going to do is you're going to look at each one of these players and their ages, and you're going to put a tally mark in whichever interval they belong in. These intervals are their ages. Okay, so if it's a player between 18 and 20, you're going to put a little tally in there. Now you can use the shift key, so shift and then the button right above enter on your keyboard makes this little line. You can also just use the number 1 if you want to just put tallies like that. You can also use a letter. It's no big deal. You use whatever you want on your keyboard to make a tally. If there's a player with an age that's like 26, for example, Alana Cook is 26, we would put a tally in this row because she is between the ages of 24 and 26. Okay, so go ahead and pause this video and try that on your own. See if you can tally up each one of these into your frequency table. And then also, let's go ahead and figure out how many total players we're talking about on this women's team. So here, you can type right here, total players, and go ahead and count them all because we're going to need that information later. So I'm going to do it. You do it on your assignment and check your answers. Pause this video because the answers are going to pop up in a second. Pause this video. Here are the answers in 3, 2, 1. Okay, here we are. I really, really hope that you tried it on your own and you are checking your work. It's no good for you if you're just getting these answers. So I decided to use the number 1 as a tally, and we can see here that I had 1 player that is between 18 and 20, 3 players between 21 and 23, 4 players, and you can also type this in if you'd like on yours. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players. In the next range, we have 6 players over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. 3 and then 1. I didn't figure out my total yet. Total, we should have, let's count. 8, let's see, 13, 19, 20, 23. 23 players. Is that right? Hold on, let me check. Okay, yeah, I feel good about 23. All right, so I'm going to go and put this right here. 23 total players. Okay, so that is your frequency table. And if you make a frequency table, it's going to make creating your histogram a lot easier. That's why we're creating a frequency table. All right, so let's take a look at this histogram real quick. Let me zoom out. Let's talk about this a little bit. A histogram is different than a bar graph because a histogram has ranges. You see these bins down here? These are called bins. When I drag my bar up, that's how many players are between 18 and 20. Okay, it's a range. So if you're 18, 19, or 20, you're going to go in this first bar. Bar graphs don't work like that. Bar graphs are like, what is your favorite animal? Dog. Okay, the whole bar represents dog. Histograms, it's a range of numbers. So we have a range of ages. Our next bin is if you are between 21 and 23. So 21, 22, and 23. The next one is between 24, 25, 26. And they're all three ages wide. Okay, so our ranges are also going to be the same size. You don't want a range that's from 18 to 35 and then 36 to 38. They're all the same size long. That's important for a histogram. We took notes on that. Okay, so now let's put our frequency table information into this bar, into this histogram, so that we can see what our data looks like. Okay, this says to double click on the graph to edit it. So you're going to double click here. I'm just going to go ahead and let's see. So my first bar is only going to be one high. So double click like this. Oh, like that. Okay, cool. And then we're going to drag this first bar. We only had one player between ages 18 and 20. Okay. Hit save and close. We can look at our next one. We have 3. Our next bar is 3. And then 4. Let's go ahead and do both of those. So between 21 and 23, we had 3 players. Between 24 and 26, we had 4 players. Okay, what else? Actually, you can pause this, do the rest of it, and then check your histogram with mine. I'm going to keep going. My next category has 5, 6, 3, and 1. 5, 6, 3, and 1. So this group is... There had 5 players. We had 6 players between 30 and 32. 3 players in this next bin. And then 1 player in this next bin. Okay, so it was 1, 3, 4. Just double check. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 3, and 1. Okay, so your histogram should look something like this. And this histogram, look how easy this histogram is to read. You can see right away that the majority of our players are in this age range between 30 and 32. Okay, so this histogram makes it super easy to look at our data. Let's answer these questions. What interval had the highest percentage of the data? Most of our data fit in this interval right here between 30 and 32. So put in a complete sentence. The age range with the most number of players is between 30 and 32. List both the interval and the percentage. Okay, to find a percentage, we didn't really talk about this in class. Percentage is going to be the number out of the total times 100, because percentage is always out of 100. Okay, so open up your Desmos calculator. We're talking about this specific bar, which has 6. There are, here, I'll write this down here, 6 players out of 23 total. Okay, so the 6 out of 23, remember, a fraction is division. So in your Desmos calculator, here, you know what? I'll just do it. I'll do this first one so you can see 6 players out of 24. Okay. Percentage is always out of 100. So we're going to multiply times 100. 6 out of 24 is 25%. Okay, you see how I did that? 6 players out of the 24 between 30 and 32. We're multiplying times 100 to make it a percentage. So 25% of the women's soccer team is between 20 and 24. That's a fourth. Okay. All right. So that's number 1. Number 2, looking at the histogram, how many players are 24 years old or older? Okay, which bars are 24 years old or older? This bar right here. Okay, if you're between 24 and 26, you're older than 24. But not just that bar. This bar is going to be older than 24. This one, and this one. All of these ages are greater than 24 years old. The only 2 bars that you don't want to include are between 18 and 23. That is not older than 24. Okay, so take It says how many players. So we just need to add up these bars. This bar was 4. There's 4 players here, 5 players, 6 players, 3 players, and 1 player. So how many total is that? How many are older than 24? Okay, so that is the Women's World Cup questions. Now I'm going to move down to the men's team. So we're going to do the same thing for the men's team. Let's go ahead and tally these up and also figure out our total. How many total players are we looking at here? In case it asks us for a percentage. So go ahead and pause this video, make your frequency table, and then when you're ready, unpause it and you can check your work. Okay, so pause this video. And here we go. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I have my tally marks here. I'm going to go ahead and write the numbers off to the side just so it's even easier to read. There's 3 right here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are between 21 and 23 years old. 7 are between 24 and 26. 5, 2, and 1. Okay, and add them up. How many total do we have here? Let's see. 9, 16, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24 total players there. You can count it's 12 here and 12 here as well, so we know it's 24. Okay, so how'd you do? Did you get your frequency table right? Did it match mine? Okay, so now we're going to make our histogram just like we did with the women's. We already know our totals for each bin, so we're just going to drag the bins up to match our data. So we have 3, 6, and 7. Three players are between 18 and 20. 6 players are between 21 and 23. 7 players. Okay, let me see what else. 3, 6, 7. 5, 2, and 1. 5 players are between 27 and 29. 2 players are 30 to 32, and then 1 player is between 33 and 35. So you can go ahead and make some comparisons here. I don't think a question asks us to compare them. But if we look at this histogram, most of the players are right here, between 24 and 26. But if we look at the women's team, most of the players are between 30 and 32. So the men's team overall has younger players than the women's team, which is interesting. Okay, what interval had the highest percentage of data? List both the interval and percentage. Okay, so we know the highest, the highest interval of players is between 24 and 26 years old. Okay, we don't want to use most, but we can say the highest interval is between 24 and 26 years old. The percentage, okay, this bar, there were 7 players that are between 24 and 26. So go back to Desmos. All right, clear this out. 7 players out of, there were 24 on the team. Okay, total is 24. Remember, percentage is always out of 100, so we're going to multiply times 100. 29.1%. That's going to round down. So 29% of the team is in that range. Okay, so 29%. The interval with the highest percentage is 24 to 26 years old. 29% of the team is between 24 and 26 years old. Okay, looking at the histogram, how many people are 29 years old or younger? So 29 is our threshold this time. 29 or younger. So here's the 29. Or younger. So all of these down here. So take every single one of these bars. All of these bars represent ages that are below 29 years old, because this is the 30-32 range. These are all the 30s. We want younger than 29. 29 and younger. So add up those bars. That's how many players are younger than 29. Number 5. Looking at the histogram for the men and women, are there any intervals that have the same frequency? Okay, let me zoom out because we need to look at both histograms. So you can scroll back and forth. Let me zoom out and see. Excuse me. Okay, so red bar is the same interval between 18 and 20. Men's have more. The next bar between 21 and 23, the men have more. Then the women's have more. Is orange the same? See, orange in the women's is 5. Orange in the men's is 5. Okay, so our fourth category here, our men's and women's team have the same number of players between, what is this interval? 27 and 29 years old. Purple's definitely different. Yellow is different. Oh, and I just realized now that the women's team has a 36 to 38 years old, and the men's team doesn't even have that bin. Okay, so there is one interval that was the same between the two, and that is between 27 and 29 years old. Both teams have 5 players. Okay. What percent of the men's team are 30 or older? What about the women? Okay, so finding our percentage, you're going to use your Desmos calculator. This time 30 years or older. So men's is first. So 30 or older. What 2 bars will that be? These 2. This is 2 right here. And this one's only 1. So 3. Put this in the calculator. 3 out of our men's team had 24 players times 100. That will be your percentage of players on the men's team who are 30 years old or older. We're going to do the same thing for the women's. 30 or older, that's these last 3 bars. Add them all up. We have 6, 3, and 1. How many is that total? 10 players out of the women's team had a different number. The women's team only had 23 players. 10 out of 23 players times 100 to get your percentage. That percent is how many players on the women's team that are older than 30. And last question. Remember, if I'm going too fast, you can always rewind it and watch it again. Good part about a video. Last question. Does a histogram show specific data points? In other words, looking only at the histogram, can you tell a player's specific age? Okay, looking at this bar right here, I know 3 players are between 18 and 20, but does it tell me exactly their age? Are they all not 13? Are they all 18? Are they all 20? Is one 18, one 19, and one 20? Are 2 players 18 and 1 person's 19? It does not tell me their exact age because I already put them in ranges. The only way to know their exact age for this problem is if we go back up and take a look at these tables right here. I know their exact ranges, but even our frequency table won't tell us exactly how old they are. It just tells us the range. I know that there's one player that's between 33 and 35, but I don't know if this player is 33 or if he's 34 or if he's 35. So histograms will not tell you exact numbers. Okay, we do not know a player's specific age only looking at a histogram. All right, guys, I hope this video helps. Don't forget to submit in Schoology. See ya.